Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where father and son get together and talk about fantasy, science fiction, and other nerdy things we enjoy. Just Jim here coming to you today, demonstrating my full addiction to this hobby of talking about literature. I'm traveling for work this week and still figuring out a way to make content because I gotta share my thoughts. I hope you enjoy this, and if you do, be sure to like it down below, subscribe to our channel if you haven't, leave comments, any thoughts you have on what I have to say, and look in the show notes for other ways you can connect with Zach and I to talk about your love of science fiction, fantasy, and other nerdy stuff. Let's be clear about what this episode is. A book blast is a spoiler-lite reaction to a book I enjoyed. Book blast episodes don't reveal any major plots. I'm just reacting to this book. But also, that does mean I liked the book. We don't do content on books that we DNF'd or that just didn't work for us. We don't want to disparage something that somebody else might like. And why waste time making content on something we didn't like? But when I say I enjoyed this book, Night Angel Nemesis by Brent Weeks, we need to understand there are varying degrees of like, which is a good lead in to this episode. What I want to say about this book, it literally took me months to read this. At first, I attributed this in part to the size of the book, because I was gifted a beautiful hardcover edition. I found truly I no longer prefer reading physical books. But then when you make it a super long, heavy hardcover, it truly diminishes the amount of time I want to sit with the book in my hands, in my lap, at one particular setting. So that was a knock against this book that I needed to overcome, that it needed to overcome. It wasn't on me, it's the author and his writing. And that said, the book did not grip me or really engage me sufficiently to overcome that challenge until about the last 15% of the book. I'm not saying it was bad, it was just decent, okay, mildly entertaining. And then we get to the end. I'll talk about that in a moment. This book is both a continuation of and the start of the next story about Kylar Stern, the Night Angel, and those close to him, all told in the world of Mid-Cryu, or Mid-Cyru? I listened to the original trilogy on audio, and I'm sure it said Mid-Cryu, but the writing is clearly Mid-Cyru, so I don't know. I actually tried to look that up online and couldn't find a clear explanation. I'll have to go back and listen. It is an engaging story, mostly told in flashback, sort of, not really. Brent Weeks utilized a storytelling device here where one character is actually reading the magical journal of the adventures of Kylar. Adventures that this character is actually a part of at times, but now there's this big mystery to where Kylar is. And reading the story is a means to determine clues to his whereabouts, but it's also a means to determining what's going to happen to the character who's reading the story. I'm keeping this spoiler light, so that's as detailed as I'm going to get on the plot. We have many of the usual suspects, characters from before. Kylar, of course, Viridiana, Logan and Janine Gyre, Mama Kay, more. And we've got a bunch of new characters who matter and are great to have as part of the story. We learn about the world and the aftermath of the epic conclusion of the original Night Angel trilogy. The aftermath has had real ramifications, and we see life has not been kind to Kylar. He's in a bad place emotionally, mentally, as the story begins. And he spends a lot of the story still in that place. Again, there's nothing particularly wrong with this story. At the same time, at the end of the story, there's nothing particularly awesome about overall the story. I do love the ending. But I think Brent Weeks fell into the trap of enjoying his storytelling device, this magical journal thing, too much. And it bloated the novel. It was just too long for my preference. I gave it a 4-star on Goodreads. Really, for me, it's more of a 3.5. But the ending, yeah, the ending was worthy. Really saved this book for me. Now I'm eager for the next book. So, unlike some authors, Brent Weeks He does really know how to land the plane. But in this case, the friggin' plane was a 315,000 word jumbo jet. All right, if you've enjoyed this or not, give me your comments. I'd love to know what you thought about Night Angel Nemesis. I, for a while, had moved Lightbringer series, Brent Week's other major works, farther down my TBR because I wasn't sure. As I'm reading this, am I really enjoying it? Okay, after the ending, I've moved it back up. So we're in a good space. Thanks, Brent Weeks. Keep the works coming. And for all of you watching, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.